My nephew Tommy just turned 13 and honestly, the kid's pretty spoiled. His parents, my brother and sister-in-law, clearly favor him over his little sister, Maya, who's 10. Because of this, Tommy has picked up some bad habits. He acts like he's owed everything and treats Maya poorly mostly because he knows his parents won't believe her side of the story when he messes with her things. I'm usually the strict one in the family, so when the kids come over for the weekend, Tommy tends to keep himself in check. His birthday was yesterday. Just a week earlier, Maya had won first place in a spelling bee after spending hours practicing. Her parents barely acknowledged it, but I was proud of her. So, the day before Tommy's birthday, I took both kids out. Tommy got to pick out a game he'd been wanting, and I surprised Maya with a stuffed animal as a little well done. But when I showed up for the party the next day, I found out Maya had been grounded and wasn't even allowed to be there. The few friends she'd invited were sent home too. I asked what on earth had happened. Apparently, she and Tommy argued over the TV remote, and Tommy got so mad he went into her room and destroyed the stuffed animal I'd given her. He told her she didn't deserve it. When Maya yelled at him, my brother got mad at her, made her clean up the torn pieces and throw them in the trash. She cried the entire time. And that's how she ended up grounded. Turns out it was actually Tommy's best friend who told me what had really happened. He said Tommy encouraged his parents to punish Maya. I was furious. I refused to give Tommy his birthday gift and told him flat out he didn't deserve it after how he treated his sister. I also had a few harsh words for my brother and sister-in-law, told them they were crossing into cruel territory when it came to how they treat Maya. Of course, that didn't go over well. The rest of the family is mad at me now for not giving Tommy his present. This morning I called my brother and said if Maya's being so rude to her brother, maybe she should stay with me for a few days to cool off. I only said that to get her out of there because honestly I didn't see another way. When I picked her up, I gave her a giant teddy bear to keep at my place, then took her out for some KFC. She smiled for the first time in days. But I know this isn't a long-term fix. I'm looking for something more permanent. Right now, I'm in the middle of a career change and unfortunately don't make enough money to take Maya in full-time. I looked into it, but social services told me I don't meet the financial requirements to be considered a foster parent. I write romance novels freelance and the income just isn't steady. I'll share more about that later. As for Maya, she stayed with me a few days and once she felt safe and calm, we sat down and talked. I had no idea how bad things really were in that house. Tommy bullies her regularly and my brother laughs when she cries. A few months ago, Maya broke her arm. I was told she slipped on the stairs. She can be clumsy, so I believed it. But now I know the truth. Tommy pushed her down the stairs as some sort of joke, and while she was screaming in pain, my brother actually laughed. A neighbor confirmed the story for me. She was the one who rushed Maya to the hospital after hearing her cry. Apparently, my brother was yelling at her to quit making noise while she was hurt. That just broke me. I asked Maya if her mom knew. She said yes. My own childhood was rough, but nothing like this. I called our parents to see if they knew anything. At first, they played dumb, pretending they didn't know what I was talking about. But eventually, my mom admitted she was aware and brushed it off as kids being kids. That just made me snap. Over the past week, I've been collecting every bit of evidence I can find. Once I had enough, I confronted my brother and sister-in-law at my house. I warned them, if they didn't change, I'd go public. I'd post everything on social media and send it to their bosses and their friends. That was actually a suggestion someone gave me, and I'm grateful for it. At first, my brother blew up and even tried to get in my face, but I calmly pointed to the security camera in my living room. I was furious inside, but at the same time, I felt oddly distant, like I was watching everything from outside myself. I knew this could wreck my relationship with the family for good, but after seeing Maya crying at the bottom of the stairs while my brother just laughed it off, I couldn't stay quiet anymore. I gave them a choice. Either I'd call Child Protective Services and Maya would likely be taken away from everyone, or they could just let her come live with me. The problem was if I went through official channels, there was a good chance I'd lose her too. So I told them, straight up, if they didn't want to be parents to her, they could hand her over to me. Pretend she was never born. I was talking fast, kind of spiraling. I don't even remember half the things I said. I told them I'd cover her costs, everything except school fees and medical insurance, and they'd never have to see her again. I just kept rambling, not even stopping to breathe. My sister-in-law started crying, saying I was stealing her child. That set me off, and I reminded her, that back when she was pregnant with Maya, she actually didn't even want to have her. I was beyond angry and crying myself at that point. I had to stop myself from completely losing it. My brother just stood there, saying nothing. I could see he was actually considering it. I told them keeping this all quiet was a better option for them than having the whole world find out, because if I went public, they wouldn't just lose Maya. They'd lose both kids. It wasn't pretty. Yeah, it was blackmail. But I didn't have many options left. They said they'd think it over, but for now Maya's staying with me. My sister-in-law got nasty on her way out, saying something cruel about Maya that I won't even repeat. I honestly don't know how a mother could speak about her child like that, but by then I'd stopped caring what either of them had to say. One of my friends is a lawyer and he told me to get a voice message confirming Maya could stay with me. I managed to get that recording. My sister-in-law said it herself. Maya hasn't asked to go back home once. She doesn't talk about them. Not a word. Yesterday we went out and picked up some pink-colored paint and we spent the whole afternoon redoing the guest room for her. I've decided to take on more work to save up for her. I already had a little set aside as a possible college fund, but now I'm stepping it up to make sure she has a better future. I've been getting angry calls from my parents. They're yelling at me over the phone. I just hang up now. The only family member who stood by me is my cousin. He said if it comes down to it and social services get involved, he's willing to take Maya in too. I could even move closer to them. We're figuring things out. Maya's still mostly quiet. She smiles sometimes and we have good moments, but I can tell she's holding back a lot. I'm worried she's been through more than she's let on. On my lawyer friend's advice, I've scheduled her to see a child therapist starting Wednesday. I'm hoping that'll help. It's been 4 days without a single word from my brother or sister-in-law. My parents keep trying to scold me over the phone, but honestly, that's nothing new. What finally got their attention was when I mentioned the post I'd written up, complete with photos and all the evidence I'd gathered. That kind of scandal would hit hard, especially since we come from a family people expect better from. I know blackmail isn't the best route, but I was out of options. At this point, she's got at least 8 stuffed animals, including 3 big ones, 2 from me and another from my sweet neighbor across the hall. She named them Ellie and Zoe, which cracks us both up. She'll run down the hallway yelling, "Ellie, Zoe, let's play," and it always makes me laugh. I've decided to enroll in a tech degree through Treehouse and take on smaller courses and certifications alongside it. I really appreciate the thought, but while I'm not wealthy by any means, I do have some savings. I'm working hard to grow my income so I can give Maya the life she deserves. My friends have rallied around us. They've shared their children's clothes, toys, and more. I haven't given Maya everything at once because I want to make the transition gentle for her. There's already so much change happening in her world and I want to ease her into this new chapter. Yesterday, Maya's maternal grandmother dropped by. She didn't say much, just sat with us for an hour, asked Maya if she was happy, and quietly handed me some money. She said she'll continue helping however she can. Her husband hasn't reached out, but I think his wife has a soft spot for Maya. She's very kind and keeps to herself. In fact, I don't think we ever spoke before now. She asked if she could visit again, and I told her she was welcome, so long as I'm home. She understood and agreed. Neither of Maya's parents have reached out, but Tommy called earlier today to speak with her. He sounded emotional. I let them talk, just like he usually does on weekends. They chatted about baby rabbits and other small things. Maya seemed content afterward, and it reminded me that keeping her connected to her siblings is important. I want to preserve those relationships wherever possible. From how Maya's grandmother spoke, I get the sense she believes Maya will remain with me. I've also had a serious talk with my own parents. I told them plainly that if they want any kind of relationship with their only granddaughter, they should be grateful she's in a safe and loving environment. I also mentioned that Tommy now gets all their attention, which oddly quieted my mom right away. It made me wonder if they had known more about what was going on than they ever admitted. Recently, I also spoke with my lawyer who arranged a medical checkup for Maya. I'd rather not go into the details, but just to be clear, there was no sign of intimate abuse. She does have bruises that haven't fully faded and of course the arm fracture, but thankfully nothing more. That was a huge relief. Still, the whole exam was hard on Maya. She was visibly shaken, so afterward, I took her out for ice cream and let her watch 2 back-to-back Disney movies. She has school starting up again, and I think that bit of normalcy will help. Now here's the part one didn't expect to talk. Maya's no longer with me. Social services stepped in and removed her from my care 3 days ago. She's currently staying with my cousin. She's called me several times crying, saying she wants to come home. But I wasn't even allowed to go with her when they took her. They claim I could pose a risk to her safety. I'll explain more about that shortly. I've now hired a new lawyer, a very good one. Turns out, he's a friend of a friend and was able to piece together who I was based on my earlier occasion. I see now that I was naive. I thought my brother would back down and agree to let Maya stay with me. I was wrong. I'm trying to organize everything into a proper timeline now that the legal side is being handled. But emotionally, I'm shattered. Just few days ago, Maya was home with me. She was watching a movie while I worked. That day, the power suddenly went out. We have scheduled outages here, but this wasn't on the list, so I didn't think much of it. My laptop was fully charged, so I just let Maya keep watching her movie on it. What I didn't realize in that moment was that my home security system, my cameras, don't work without power. I didn't know it at the time, but my brother had turned off the breaker. He broke into my home. When my brother broke in, I reacted instantly. I pushed Maya into my bedroom and told her to lock the door. Then he attacked me. Honestly, if my neighbors hadn't heard the noise and intervened, I don't know what might have happened. One of my neighbors, her father, thankfully rushed over. Since the door was open, he stormed in and pulled my brother off me while his daughter called the police. It was chaotic. I was bleeding, and to this day my face is still bruised. I also can't put full weight on my right leg. But that wasn't even the worst part. My brother accused me of kidnapping Maya and claimed I had been harming her. He said he was just trying to get her back. Even Tommy repeated those accusations, clearly something he had been coached to say. Luckily, I had evidence proving Maya had been placed with me willingly. When the officers arrived, they noticed how tightly Maya clung to me and refused to leave my side. I don't remember much from that moment. I was in shock, but somehow I managed to call my lawyer, and he handled most of the situation from there. Eventually, I had to be taken to the hospital. What helped most were the voice recordings I had collected, thanks to advice from people who urged me to document conversations. The accusations, especially from my sister-in-law, were vague and inconsistent, but they were enough to trigger an official response. When the authorities got involved, I was able to present a substantial amount of evidence, and I made sure they saw every bit of it. Even though I was still injured and hadn't left for the hospital yet, my biggest fear was that they'd place Maya with my brother. So I stayed. The kids were crying. My lawyer arrived as quickly as he could. And when I say social services, what I really mean is a child protection agency we have here. It serves a similar role, even if we don't use that term. I filed charges against my brother, and a caseworker was scheduled to visit few days later. But I had to be admitted to the hospital before that. Fortunately, the police allowed me to keep Maya with me during that time. I had no broken bones, so I was discharged the next afternoon. While I was there, my parents came by and tried to take Maya with them, but the officer assigned to my case refused to let that happen. I was there protesting as well. I had to skip over some details just because I'm mentally and emotionally drained, but the key point is this. 3 days ago, a woman from the Child Protection Agency came to my apartment and told me they had to remove Maya from my care until the investigation was complete. My cousin immediately offered to take her in. My parents, meanwhile, took Tommy. I still don't fully understand why they're siding the way they are. I'm shaken to my core. I'm exhausted. I still hear Maya crying in my mind. I don't sleep well. I keep waking up terrified, convinced someone's in the room. I've started leaving the lights on at night. One of my friends brought over a small generator, just so I could keep the security cameras running and have basic lighting if we ever lose power again. My sister-in-law is now spreading lies, telling people that I harmed her children. My parents have been calling me, but I haven't answered. My lawyer now wants me to undergo an evaluation. My brother is currently in jail due to the charges I pressed, but I've heard my parents plan to bail him out. Everything in my life feels like it's unraveling. The only real comfort is knowing that Maya is safe with my cousin's family. She's getting along well with her cousins, and that gives me some peace. Today, for the first time in a while, I have a small piece of good news to share. The same child protection officer came by this morning. After reviewing all the evidence and interviewing our neighbors, Maya's teachers, and others, they've concluded that the claims made by my brother and his wife have no merit. What truly tipped the balance was an evaluation done by a child psychologist who spoke with both Maya and Tommy. Neither of them showed signs of abuse. And in a crucial moment of truth, Tommy admitted he had simply repeated what his parents told him to say. Because of that, both children have now been removed from my brother and sister-in-law's custody permanently. The caseworker even said that Maya's mother's behavior, how she referred to Maya, was deeply troubling, and they're now considering terminating her parental rights entirely. The investigation is still ongoing, but because the accusations were only verbal and no formal complaint was filed, the caseworker is optimistic things will resolve in my favor. For now, I'm allowed to visit Maya under supervision. I'm bringing over some arts and crafts supplies to do with her and her cousins, and I'll be staying with them for the night. My cousin and his wife have been incredibly supportive throughout all of this, and for that, I'm deeply grateful. I spent about an hour on FaceTime with Maya, and she actually seemed happier. Back when she first moved in with me, we set up a little online shop to sell digital designs. It became something we worked on together for hours. She's incredibly creative and really enjoyed it. During our call, she kept telling me about how she and her cousins, all girls around her age, have been drawing their own designs. They were constantly popping into view during the call, smiling and chatting. It made me realize something. Maybe staying with my cousin's family is the best long-term solution for Maya. In fact, my cousin and his wife have mentioned they might consider adopting her if things keep going the way they are. That's a hard thing for me to think about. While I know it's a good option, it still makes me feel a bit sad, so I won't dwell on it too much right now. Their reasons are sound though. There's more. Something I hadn't mentioned earlier. My brother lost his job, not just because he went to jail, but because I publicly called him and my sister-in-law out on social media, tagging people they worked with. My family didn't take that well. My parents showed up to confront me. They didn't even ask how I was doing physically. Instead, they accused me of destroying my brother's family and blamed me for not leaving things alone. My lawyer happened to be at my place at the time, and he didn't hesitate to throw them out. So that's where things stand now. I have a growing feeling I may never get Maya back. But maybe that's okay. Maybe she's better off where she is, both emotionally and financially. That said, I did take a step forward for myself. I booked a session with a therapist. The break-in left me more shaken than I realized, and many of you were right to point that out. My feelings toward Tommy are complicated. I know none of this is his fault, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel some resentment. It's not fair to him, but it's how I feel. I've been avoiding reaching out to him, even though some friends have warned me that he'll need support too. They worry he could follow in his father's footsteps if he remains with my parents. Truthfully, I'm torn. Tommy's false accusations hurt, even though I know he was manipulated. That moment also made my cousin decide not to take him in, which left Tommy with no other options. My cousin is coming to pick me up in a bit. I've packed some glass painting kits and bracelet-making supplies for the girls. Hopefully it'll bring them joy. A few days ago, I ended up having a sit-down with Tommy. It wasn't planned. His school is close to my place, and I found him standing outside my apartment building after I came back from a doctor's appointment. I didn't want to be alone with him, so I asked my neighbor and her dad to hang around, and I called my lawyer. I know I rely on him a lot, but after everything, I didn't want to take chances. There was a lot of crying. Tommy is clearly broken. His whole family structure has collapsed. He can't see his parents, and shockingly, my own parents have started blaming him for what happened. That made me furious. This mess is a direct result of how poorly they raised their son. Tommy asked if he could stay with me. At first, I wasn't sure, especially since the child welfare worker had previously insisted Maya and Tommy be kept separate. But after hearing what was going on, my lawyer called her directly. She showed up within an hour. And I have to say, despite all the horror stories you hear about these situations, this woman has been kind, attentive, and genuinely compassionate. She spoke to Tommy and then spoke to me separately. I shared my hesitations, and she told me that, considering the circumstances, it might actually be better for Tommy to stay with me than with my parents. That made me uneasy. I admitted as much. She suggested installing security cameras inside the apartment, one in each room, if it made me feel safer. The child psychologist working with Tommy says he's under immense stress. His school performance has dropped. He's not sleeping well. But she added he said he feels safer with me than anywhere else. So now Tommy is living with me. I'm doing my best to be normal with him, but I've already stumbled. When he tries to hug me or seek closeness, I instinctively pull away. A few days ago, I found him crying about it. That absolutely crushed me. I told him I need time, but that I do love him. He's a different kid now, quiet, tired, nothing like the loud, bold child I remember. He has dark circles under his eyes and he hardly speaks unless prompted. I've been talking to my therapist about all of this. She's helping me find a way to gradually let Tommy back into my life, emotionally speaking. Given everything Tommy has been through, I've started being more physically affectionate, like I used to be. It seems to bring him comfort. It's only been a week, but I'm feeling hopeful about his recovery. Even though people advise me not to get too involved, I've played a major role in these children's lives since they were born. That's not something I can easily walk away from. Tommy asked about Maya and whether he could see her. When I told him not yet, he seemed to understand. He even made a card for her, which I'm holding onto for now. His psychologist mentioned that he's struggling with guilt, deep guilt, and not handling it well. Today, I took him to the movies, something he had been looking forward to for a while. But he ended up sleeping through the whole thing. That worries me. His psychologist keeps telling me the most important things right now are patience and love. Unfortunately, my parents, my brother, and my sister-in-law are furious. I've been getting angry phone calls from all of them. At one point, Daryl even showed up at my apartment. I'm seriously considering moving. This doesn't feel safe anymore. My family believes I've ruined everything. That I've destroyed reputations and torn apart a family. Maybe in their eyes I have. But Maya is doing well. Thriving, actually. Like many of you said, a two-parent household has been good for her. She used to call me often, but those calls have become less frequent over the past couple of weeks. I suppose that's a good thing. She's adjusting. My cousin and his wife adore her, and her cousins love having her there. I've started therapy, and it's going okay. My leg has improved, and my face is healing. It no longer looks like a crayon attack by a child. I still have nightmares, but focusing on Tommy has been a distraction from that. Maya seems happy and settled with my cousin's family. I don't hear from her often, but whenever I check in, she's doing well. I suspect I remind her of the worst chapter in her life, which might be why she doesn't reach out much. And that's okay. Her happiness is more important than holding on to the past. She's changed schools. My cousin and his wife have started the legal adoption process. I tried sending them money occasionally, but my cousin told me it's not necessary. She gets pocket money, and I gave her a small Mickey Mouse piggy bank to save in. As for Tommy, he's going to be leaving my care soon. Even though he's doing well here, his therapist thinks he needs a fresh start. I have some family, first cousins, in another city who have a son close to Tommy's age. They've followed what's been going on and offered to take him in. Tommy and I have visited them twice so far. Both I and his therapist have explained the situation to him. The challenge is, as a single person, I can't easily get legal custody. I could try, but it would mean jumping through a lot of hoops and digging up the past, which wouldn't be good for him. The child services worker who's been with us this whole time agrees that moving in with my cousins is likely the best path for Tommy. He's doing better, but kids at school know about what happened. He's lost almost all of his friends. When I brought up the idea of adoption, the first thing he asked was if he'd go to a new school and have a chance to make new friends. I think that's what he wants most, just a clean slate. He's changed. He's quiet now, withdrawn, and deeply sad. He misses Maya, but not their parents. Maya misses him too. But their pain is so individual and so deep that they need time apart to heal. His therapist insists that for now, Tommy shouldn't be in contact with his parents, his grandparents, or even Maya. I've been told that Tommy went through his own trauma different from Maya's, but since I'm not his legal guardian, no one can share the details with me. So in a few months, Tommy will probably leave too. And if that's what's best for him, then I'll support it. In the meantime, I've been teaching him how to write letters and mail them, something my dad taught me as a child, and something I used to love. Tommy really enjoys writing letters. He's already written 3 to his therapist, who encouraged the idea. He promised he'd write to me too once he's gone. Since everything happened, we've erased his social media presence for his safety. I've been in a weird headspace. Things have been hard. I applied to a few graduate job programs, mostly abroad. I just wanted to leave the country, start over once Maya and Tommy are both settled. Their therapists believe that, moving forward, my role in their lives should be minimized to help them heal. None of the job applications panned out. All rejections. That hit me harder than I expected. I ended up getting a cat. With Tommy soon to leave too, I didn't want to be completely alone. Having something to love and care for helps. She's a little tyrant, definitely thinks she owns me, but she brings me joy. I'm going to finish my certifications and keep applying for jobs, both locally and internationally. Maybe something will eventually work out. It's easy to spiral, to lose sight of the good and drown in the bad. But I'm trying to shift that mindset. I'm trying to stay positive about what lies ahead. My parents reached out recently, not to argue, just to talk. They looked older and tired, worn down by everything. I learned that my brother and Victoria are divorcing. Apparently, my brother broke into her house at night. She was expecting it and locked herself in her room before calling the police. He had some concerning items with him. He's been arrested again, and this time my parents didn't bail him out. I never asked why. They asked to see Tommy and I said no. I told them why. I said a lot actually. They didn't argue this time. They just listened and left. I still miss them. They're my parents. But too much has happened. Daryl hasn't reached out to the kids, not once. There's a restraining order against my brother. He's not allowed near me or the children. I haven't heard from him since. Despite all of this, I think Tommy and Maya are going to be okay. More than okay, they'll be loved and safe. And for them, that's the happiest ending I could hope for. So here's the final update. Maya is thriving. Tommy has moved in with his new family and is settling in well. Both kids have my number. They know I'll be there if they ever need me. But now I'm going to focus on me, on my health, losing weight, becoming more active, finishing my data analyst courses, and maybe even writing again. Maybe I'll self-publish someday, who knows? I'm 26. I want to travel. I want to grow. I want to rebuild. The kids are okay, or they will be. That gives me peace. I made this final update because I believe stories deserve a clear ending, a bow on top, even if it's messy underneath. Maya and Tommy will grow into strong, emotionally intelligent people. I truly believe that.